right. Good afternoon and welcome to another A Month of Service session. My name is Cecile Carlson. I'm with the Department of Neighborhoods, the City of Houston, and we are one of the partners in the A Month of Service collaboration. Okay. I do apologize. I don't have my camera on today. Every time I turn it on, I experience technical difficulties, so we're going to try and avoid that today. Like I said, we are one of the partners of A Month of Service. And I just want to talk a little bit about the collaboration. This collaboration came a few years ago when we realized that the community needed access to information about a wide variety of topics, including asset building and protection, financial empowerment, legacy building, among other topics. Today we will be discussing HOA foreclosures and preventions, and I want to take a minute to thank our presenting partners from Lone Star Legal Aid. I will pass the mic to them as soon as we get started so that they can introduce themselves. Before that, I do want to let you know that we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. You are also able to find our previously recorded sessions online. With that being said, since we are live, we are a public forum right now, we do encourage everybody to ask questions, but be mindful of any information that they share. We don't want to disclose any identifying or personal information. But like I said, do take advantage right now. We do have subject matter experts here with us that can answer some of the questions. We have also received some questions that have been submitted online previously, and we will be going through those. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass on the mic to our presenting partners at Lone Star Legal Aid. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get started.
Newton, do you want to go first?
Hi, my name is Newton Tamayo. I'm an attorney here at Lone Star Legal Aid. I've been here since 2018. I guess I'm happy, I guess, with the work. And here's Samantha Guzman, ready to present.
So my name is Samantha Guzman, and I am a paralegal with the Foreclosure and Prevention project here at Lone Star Legal Aid. We focus on all kinds of homeownership related issues in our unit, not just foreclosures. Today we will be presenting on property owners associations. So let's get right into it. Let me share my screen. Okay, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So again, we're talking about property owners associations, truths, myths, and everything in between. As a reminder, today's presentation provides legal information only. It is not legal advice, and you should consult your financial or tax advisor and/or your lawyer for your specific advice regarding your personal situation. Our agenda today, I will give you some information about Lone Star Legal Aid and how you can contact us and the types of legal issues we do provide assistance with. Then we'll jump into understanding homeowner associations, commonly known as HOAs or COAs if you live in a condo, and then common issues with the homeowner associations and homeowner association-led foreclosures and post-foreclosure evictions. Oh, okay. So here at Lone Star Legal Aid, we protect and advance the civil legal rights of the millions of Texans living in poverty. We do serve 76 counties by providing free advocacy, legal representation, and community education that ensures equal access to justice. Lone Star Legal Aid serves about 60,000 square miles across 72 counties in Texas and 4 in Southwest Arkansas. Our staff operates from the Houston office as well as 13 other offices in cities including Beaumont, Galveston, and Waco. And I'll get into a list of all of our offices towards the end of my part of the presentation. And there are nearly 2 million people in the service area who qualify for help based on federal poverty guidelines. So in order to qualify for our services, you do have to be at or below 125% of the federal poverty guideline. And then in 2024, Lone Star Legal Aid handled over 25,000 cases, assisting over 61,000 people, many of whom were survivors of domestic violence, seniors, or veterans. So who do we help here at Lone Star Legal Aid? Let's talk about that. We help some of the most vulnerable members of our community, including children, veterans, seniors, people with disabilities, members of the LGBTQIA plus community, and individuals who are experiencing homelessness. The majority of our clients are women, and many of them are mothers trying to care for their families. A lot of people we serve live in rural or remote areas where they may face isolation because of limited literacy or language barriers, and many don't have reliable access to the internet or even phones. In fact, more than 1.5 million people in our service area speak a language other than English at home. So, language access is a big part of our work. Here at Lone Star Legal Aid, we do have interpreters who assist us with um, clients or applicants who speak another language other than English. So if you know somebody who's seeking legal assistance and they don't speak English, we could help them as well. Just have them call us and we'll have an interpreter added to our phone call or our line. So the need for legal help is far greater than the number of attorneys available in Texas. In Texas, there's one attorney for every 380 people in the general population. So this is the whole state of Texas, not just Houston, not just the 76 counties that we at Lone Star Legal Aid serve, but in the whole state of Texas, there's only one attorney for every 380 people. But in our legal aid service area, which includes the 76 counties, there's only one legal aid attorney for every 17,000 eligible low income residents. So it's not even all of the residents in our 76 counties, it's 17,000 eligible low income residents in our service area. So not the state of Texas, just our 76 counties. And finally, many of our clients don't have access to basic communication tools like phones or computers. Public transportation is also rare in most of the rural areas we cover, making it even harder for people to get help. So keep that in mind when we discuss, and this is partly why we are here to advocate and provide legal education to you via Zoom, because you might not be able to make an in-person presentation, or even you might know somebody who this information will benefit and you can share it one day when you're visiting them. So again, our mission at Lone Star Legal Aid is to protect and advance the civil legal rights of the millions of Texans living in poverty by providing free advocacy, legal education, legal representation, and community education that ensures equal access to justice. For eligibility, we do help people living in the 76 counties we serve. We only work on civil cases and do not handle criminal cases. We also do not handle personal injury cases, and we only help those who are low income. So some substantive law types that we work alongside, think civil, consumer, employment, family law, healthcare, housing, juvenile issues, neighborhood problems. So if you have a problem with your community or neighborhood, think pollution, air quality, we help with those as well. So it won't just be one person, it'll be a whole group of y'all. Public education, financial assistance, and public benefits. Now, some special projects that we do have currently at Lone Star Legal Aid, we do have a civil matters and criminal justice project, community advocacy that goes back to your neighborhood problems, we have a crime victims unit, disaster relief. I know we've been kind of lucky so far, knock on wood, to not have a big major disaster in our service area right now, but we do roll out our services whenever we do. We have an environmental justice unit, a low income taxpayer unit, a medical legal partnership, legal assistance to survivors of sexual assault project, an eviction right to counsel, fair housing, military and veterans unit, and last but not least, the best foreclosure prevention project. So how do you ask for help with Lone Star Legal Aid? If you have access to the internet, you can apply 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by visiting our website at www.lonestarlegal.org. Again, it's www.lonestarlegal.org. If you do not have access to the internet, you can give us a call at 1-800-733-8394, Monday through Friday, during regular business hours. If we do not answer, please leave us a voicemail on our intake line and somebody will contact you back. So I mentioned earlier about our branch offices, and I'm just going to go through our charts. You can find this information as well on our website. So we have offices in Beaumont, Belton, Bryan, Clute, Conroe, Galveston, Houston, Longview, as well as Nacogdoches, Paris, Texarkana, Tyler, Richmond, and Waco. Again, you can find this information on our website, or you can call our offices again, and we'll direct you to the office closest to you for your legal needs. You can also follow us on social media. All of our handles will be at Lone Star Legal Aid, and we're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Again, our handles are at Lone Star Legal Aid. And so now we'll jump over to Newton's part. Yes, okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Newton Tamayo. I'm an attorney here at Long Star Legal Aid in the Housing and Consumer Unit. I'm going to be providing legal information about the basics of property owner associations and how the associations can foreclose on your home and how you can protect yourself. Next slide, please. So now it's the confusing part with all these complicated terms that make it hard for buyers and owners to understand what is required when purchasing a property with homeowner associations or condo associations. To start off with the basic acronyms used to describe these associations, there are two categories of associations. HOA, that's the if the house is detached, and COA, and that's for condos. But both are considered are considered property owners associations, POAs. However, HOAs and COAs have different regulations and a different foreclosure process. All POAs are nonprofit corporations which should govern themselves. In order to create a POA, there are many governing documents that must be drafted and filed to have the legal authority. This includes the articles of corporations, there's bylaws, there's rules and regulations, and also declarations of covenants. All these are filed in the property records.
Next slide.
Yes, next slide. So now the declaration of covenants, conditions, and restricting covenants is a complicated name for what is essentially a contract. The contract is generally created by a developer and filed in the county clerk's deed records and will apply to any buyer of the property in the community. Their creation will list special conditions or limits of what a buyer can use the property for. These conditions create maintenance requirements for each owner, the appearance, of the property, and limits the use of the property. For example, now it can include you restricting, your property from an Airbnb, what color you paint your house, or even how you maintain your lawn. And since they're filed in the property records, they run with the land. So they bind. So after the sale of each house, it continues to the next one. Next slide, please. The document needs to be recorded in the county clerk's records, which is available online, but also can be found elsewhere.
So this is another example of the typical POA declarations, right?
Yes, and they're I guess they're recorded in the records. But yes, next slide. So, the bylaws, the bylaws of the POA give the board rules of how they must conduct business, such as maintenance and repairs in common areas and collection fees. If your POA has a website, these bylaws and other governing documents may be available in there. And I would, I guess, start my research there. Um, these are some more examples of bylaws. And they, again, they have to be recorded in the property records.
So all this information has to show when you're recording it, uh, information about meetings, information about um, the board of directors, how they're selected, and what their term of office is, right?
Yes, how the fees are collected, the process of making new, rules. I mean, and they can't, they can't just change everything, but there has to be a process. Next slide, please.
Oh, hold on, let me go back.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yes, there.
there you go.
So, the rules and regulations of how to access community of amenities, such as like your local pools, how to request for PA permissions to repairs, can also be found in the the PS website. But if not, in the companies that the managing companies that manage it. If not, contact your, POA board or management company and ask for a copy, and they're, required to provide you a copy. They might charge you, but they are required to provide you a copy. Next slide, please. And these are an example of I guess the change of how they changed it. But but yes, if you need a copy, contact the board or management company, and they should provide you a copy. Next slide, please.
Hmm. Do you need this one?
Sorry, yes, this slide. Sorry, I passed my slide, sorry, but getting more information about your POA. So, number one, review the government documents. You can send a letter requesting information. At a minimum, they should, if they don't provide you the documents, they should let you know where you can go and inspect the records. This is, I guess, common when looking at the financial records, look to see if they have a website, and the COAs are governed by Chapter 81 and 82 of the property of the Texas Property Code, and the HOAs are governed by 202 to 209 of the property code. But those are a good way to start legal research, those chapters.
I have a question. I know we
Yes.
had a question from submitted to us. Does is this where where residents would go to find someone asked about getting accounting statements, itemized accounting statements. Would this be where they would go to find not the accounting statements, but how to formally request the
Yeah,
accounting statements?
yes, so you would send them a letter, and they might charge you, money, but they as a nonprofit, corporation, they're required to provide all this information um um to to the owners. I see that you raised your hand, Kathy. We're saving, I guess, all the questions at the end, but if you leave it in the chat, I for sure, we'll review them at the end. We're looking at the questions.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
This is an example of like a website of an at Tita South, and it shows you how you can find the documents in that particular one. But I know my HOA has something similar to that.
Okay. Oh, you can find all of these on oh, you're going to talk about that.
Yes.
Yes.
So
And before you go, I will be providing all of these links is ours, and then this one right here in the chat after Newton is done.
So managed certificates, not, and the HOA.texas.gov website is a great place to look for information of your POA if the association doesn't have a website, or if the website does have or if the website doesn't have any government documents on it. It's a I mean all HOAs, I guess, have to provide their management certificates to let people know of where the point of contact for the government, and the HOAs or COAs. But next, and this is the example of the Texas.gov website. It's very easy to search. Just input some of your information of your association. You can filter by your county, city, zip code, or your association's common name, and as a proper HOA or a POA, they have to provide their common information there.
I do want to say personally, I have tried looking up some HOAs using this management certificate search, and sometimes the HOAs didn't pop up, but it was because I was like one word off or something. So I do just want to say, like, play with it, with the names, with your counties, see if it pops up. And then sometimes if you go to Google Maps and you look in your certain area, it'll give a different community name. So try searching that as well, just as a heads up, because I do this work all the time, and I've gotten to know little tips and tricks during my work.
No, excellent tip. I'm not sure if there's wildcards, but I know, I guess a lot of the websites, how they get, if you click the asterisk, for your searches, you
Yeah.
can use it as a wildcard. But so this is your example of a management certificate. I mean, they also have to be recorded in deed records in every county of where the association is located. It can be difficult to find it, and especially in some counties, charge more than others, to find the record, but I mean, and it's hard to download sometimes, but I mean, they have to be recorded in the proper records to be valid. So, what are the POA boards? So these people are usually, they make up, I guess they have to be, I guess, residents, they run, and they're and through the bylaws, they establish a way to establish the management of them, and they have to, it's usually residents that run and are active in the community. Next slide, please. When the committee is first developed, the property owned developer is likely to appoint the members, as there's not anyone living at the homes at the time. The government documents will then provide a process for the board to be appointed and elected. As I mentioned, POA boards are not professional property management. They're just volunteers that live in the community. So what exactly do they do? An HOA board, a POA board is required to hold annual meetings, but they can hold more meetings and take other actions as long as they comply with Texas law and the governing bodies and the governing documents of the associations. But at a minimum, Bob, they have to have at least one annual meeting. Next slide, please. Who are management companies? As I mentioned, I guess, the boards aren't professional, but owners and volunteer time. But it can be difficult, for the board to, especially for like, the day-to-day management of the associations. So they'll usually hire a professional, property management company, to hire the dues, to do the inspections, the pools, most of the time, the role of this company is to maintain records, handle correspondence, maintain amenities, collect the assessments and certain actions to the boards, charge a fine, they hire the lawyers, if you're that, will pursue the owners for violations of the covenants. But next slide, please. So, statistics shows that that almost everyone will need to know the basics of POA because the more houses are developed, they usually come with the the property owners associations. They constitute a large trade groups, and it's estimated, I guess, by 2040, um, the majority of the people in the United States, will have a POA. This chart shows the percentage of newly single homes built in the United States between 2009 and 22. In 2009, 46% of the houses were built with HOA and 54 without. And now in 13 years, 66% of the homes built have associations, and 34% does not. And it also shows yeah and the chart shows the percentage of homes, sorry, next slide, please. Knowledge is power. Remember, knowledge is power. Common issues with property owner associations. Now that we've discussed some common issues owners encounters in dealing with HOAs. To introduce the topics, this slide shows how something as small as feeding ducks can lead to a lawsuit for $250,000 by POA. Cypress couple owner was sued, $250,000, for feeding the ducks, and now, this particular HOA sued them. And don't feed the ducks also, and Pearland, they hired the property owner, the management company hired a company, to get rid of the ducks. And Conroe, the HOA, sued the Thunder Range as residents claimed, that the bullets were hitting their homes. So and this time, this POA, it was taking enforcement trying to protect safety of their residents. So, next one, please. Some common issues in dealing with the POAs is the management of the board and or property management company. How delinquent payments are collected, or even in unreasonable payment plans that owners can't afford. And these lead to debt collection activities that are informal, coercive negotiations, tactics, and sometimes since these are neighbors of fighting amongst neighbors, it becomes personal. Because POAs are nonprofit corporations, they must have to hire lawyers to help them resolve disputes. Once a law firm starts, working through the problems for a POA, the cost will increase dramatically. Even, I guess, a small collection expense, can, when a lawyer is involved, these fees add up. Next slide, please. Keep in mind that even small disputes can easily escalate and cause other problems, especially when the POA is mismanaged. Well, other problems while there are problems, especially when the POA is mismanaged, it's only natural to react strongly, and it's important, such as to express these complaints and violations as calmly as possible. Speak to them, make sure that any communication that you do, or that you record them, and communicate by email, just so you can have record of what's happening. because I mean, at the end of the day, you're dealing with another person, and that person, you never know how they're going to react, or if they'll take it personally. Next slide, please. The most common issue is homeowners, falling behind, their payments on their assessments. Um, I mean, not what. So, what is an assessment? It's a fee charged against homeowners for the continued maintenance of the community. The frequency and assessments is determined in the governing documents. Also, keep in mind that in addition to regular assessments, they HOAs have authority to issue, special assessments, for a particular repair issue, to fix, maybe an issue with the pool. So they add a one-time special assessment. The process of, for which they can issue these types of assessments is, it's set out in the government documents, which again is found in the property records. Yeah. So let's look at a POA board abuse, case study. And in Texas, it chooses Texas, the board of a COA was abusing their powers and forced out a fellow condo owners. Um, the POA board members can't pursue collections and violations, and they're all powerful, and most owners aren't aware of the revenues that they might have, for them. Most POAs do right by the residents. Fortunately, there are situations where a POA board, I mean, does violate, the law or their own governing documents, and they can force, an owner if the owner isn't careful to defend themselves. Here's an example of it. The state law, unfortunately, I mean, doesn't give much, I guess, defenses, but I mean, but it if and suing anyone's not cheap. Texas does have a lot of regulations in place for property owners associations, and each association can have different requirements and parameters, which is why it's critical to review the governing documents, and which are much more detailed, than state law. Now we're going to turn to the topic of foreclosure. First, we will review the basics of foreclosure in Texas, and generally specifically focus on the process of which HOAs can foreclose on homeowners. Many times people are surprised that HOAs do have the authority to foreclose on their properties. Your POA probably has to lien on your home, and allows it to, to either to threaten and to foreclose, and actually foreclose. So a lien is a recorded document on a piece of property which use the property as collateral for a loan or financial obligations. It can also give, a lien holder the legal authority to force the sale of the property in the process known as foreclosure. This means, if the property owner association is, it's valid, then they most likely there's a lien, and that can, foreclose on the property. Most POAs do have liens on each property, and therefore can foreclose on the homeowners if they follow the legal process, which we will outline in the next slide. Foreclosures in Texas generally. Texas is a non-traditional foreclosure state. That means that there's times, when the house can be foreclosed without a lawsuit. For the foreclosure sales happen on the first, Tuesday of every month, and September coming up, that'll be the second. And in many cases, more the mortgage loans can foreclose, without a lawsuit too. So and keep in mind that, it's the first Tuesday of every month. For non-judicial foreclosures, a mortgage company must send a notice of default by certified mail, which gives you either 20 or 30 days to cure a default. which often means that you have to pay the full delinquent amount. It's also known as an acceleration. It cannot make that payment. Then the mortgage company must send a letter certified. If you cannot make that payment, then the mortgage company must send a certified letter, and at least 21 days before the scheduled sale. And again, in Texas, very few mortgages actually require a lawsuit to foreclose, and since Texas is a non-judicial foreclosure state. POAs can only foreclose if you owe maintenance assessments. Turning on foreclosures for POAs, keep in mind that POAs can only foreclose if the owner is delinquent on the regular or special maintenance assessments. Remember, an assessment is a regular bill your POA sends out annually or monthly if you live in a condo. So I mean, this bill shouldn't be a surprise, and you should know, yes, it's coming. POAs can't foreclose because of other violations, cannot foreclose because of other violations like fines for painting your house in a non-approved color, or fines for not collecting trash cans within a time frame. These are often called non-monetary default violations. Another example is, having a broken down car in the driveway, allowing your roof to fall into despair. If your sidewalk sometimes, has lip. These are, I guess, common defaults that, that HOAs look to pursue. Next slide, please. So, HOAs foreclose in different ways, for HOAs, for HOAs and COAs, there's two different ways, that the foreclosure process happens. Next slide, please. They must, for HOAs, a homeowners association must send a letter detailing the debt owed by the owner and give the owner at least 45 days to cure. If the 45 days come and gone and no payment was made, the HOA must file a lawsuit to foreclose. While an HOA files a lawsuit, you will have to be served with the lawsuit. Once you're served with the lawsuit, you have 20 days. 20 the answer will be due on 20 days on the first Monday after the expiration of 20 days. And if you don't answer, I guess, the lawsuit, they can enter a default judgment and win essentially automatically. Filing an answer ensures that you receive notice of any hearings in the suit. And an HOA, I mean, can't foreclose until you cannot foreclose on you until the judge signs the order, giving them the right to put the property up for foreclosure. So a condo owners association can follow the same non-judicial foreclosure as we discussed, for mortgages. They need to send 2 letters on BA certified mail and schedule to sell the condo for auction. In extremely rare situations, though, is a condo association required to file a lawsuit. So that's the main distinction. One, you do have to file one, and one you don't. Next slide, please. So you do have a right to redeem after foreclosure for HOA, foreclosures. After either a POA, after either a condo one or an HOA one, the right to redeem extends, for 180 days for an HOA, and for the condo associations, you only have 90 days. I mean, though you have a right to redeem, the eviction process can start immediately, after the sale. So I mean, you're while you have a right, right to redeem and pay what you owe. I mean, the new owners can seek to file eviction instantaneously after sale. So, I mean, you'll have to successfully redeem, and then you'll be entitled to move back to the property. Um, One strong protection against foreclosures, or if the owner qualifies and files for bankruptcy, when the bankruptcy files, there's an automatic bar, on the property being foreclosed on. At a foreclosures auction, the property can be sold back to the HOA or third to the HOA or third party. After the sale, the new owner must, proceed with the eviction. And the former owner is subject to the eviction process. At a foreclosure sale, the property owner, the property can be sold back to the sale must be stopped if the person being foreclosed upon negotiates with the seller, qualifies, or files for bankruptcy or similar protections. When a property is set for foreclosure, it can be sold to a third party or back to the HOA. Once sold, the owner is sorry, my flights were a little off. Post foreclosure evictions. If the property sells, the new owner can tell the property owner to leave. They must serve, they still must serve you with the 3-day notice to vacate. If a new owner has not left, the owner may file an eviction, process in the local justice peace court. It After filing the suit, the former owner must serve notice, which requires constable to serve lawsuit. However, I mean, constables give permission to drop off the paperwork in certain situations. If the new owner does not, appear at the trial, a default judgment can be entered. You have 5 days to appeal an eviction judgment, and in some cases you can, appeal just by filing a statement of inability to pay court costs. Keep in mind that, that if you're evicted, that does not, prevent you, to redeem the property within the timeline 90 or 180 days for HOAs. But you have to make, you have to make a payment for the purchase price and all other fees, within the deadline. Please follow us, I guess, on social media. As Sam said previously, we're at Lone Star Legal Aid, and L Star Legal, and YouTube.
Again, it's at Lone Star Legal Aid on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can find more information. We do have some tools available on our websites that you may be able to use to help yourself. Some pro se docs or some links to websites to where you can, get more legal information and perhaps draft your own pro se legal documents to help you with your legal needs. So our website is not only just to ask for or apply for assistance for yourselves, but it does have some training resources, some document resources, website resources to help yourself if we are not able to assist you right away or if you're waiting for a callback. So please visit our website at www.lonestarlegal.org. Not Lone Star Legal Aid, but lonestarlegal.org, because you will find some valuable information there as well. Excuse me.
I see. I guess we have questions.
Yeah,
Yes, Captain.
so again, here's our information. We're gonna get to your questions in a minute. Our local phone number for Houston area is 713-652-0077. Again, it's 713-652-0077. And again, our website is www.lonestarlegalaid.org. And now I'm gonna stop sharing our screen, and we're going to get into the question part of this. So, I guess, Kathy, if you want to go with your question, and I want to remind you to not divulge any of your personal information when asking these questions. Keep it general. We're not allowed to answer any specific uh, legal questions regarding your specific legal needs. So just keep it generic, general, and hopefully we can answer those.
All right, thank you. First of all, thank you for your presentation. After hearing the entire presentation, it seems to me that there's very limited power for residents to overturn the foreclosures initiated or completed by the HOAs. So I was wondering if there's any formal authorities to regulate or monitor the HOA's financial activities, if unfortunately one does have the foreclosure experience happen on them. Like, what exactly are the alternatives that they have?
Speaking broadly, I mean, you can always, you can always, a person has the right to redeem, within the time frames for, dues. You can always, report, since they're corporations, the nonprofit corporations, you can go to the process, of complaining against them. And not knowing, the facts of your case, and speaking broadly, I guess, if you have an issue with them, I recommend either applying for us or finding an attorney to go to specifics. But I mean, but I mean, a person, if the property was foreclosed, I mean, they do have, the right to redeem.
Okay, yeah, because we recently have one foreclosure happen on us, and we did have to redeem our property, and we paid a lot of legal fees in order to get that done. So I was just wondering if, there's any alternatives aside from paying for, the redemption fee as well as hiring an attorney. Are there any alternatives? Of course, Lone Star Legal Aid is one of the alternatives that we can find, but I was wondering if, let's say we really want to get this avoided, excluding any cost involved. Are there such alternative provided, or is there none?
Unfortunately, it's like you said, it's very limited.
Okay. And I do have one more question. So is it legal for the HOA to use personal bank account to collect the condo fee?
All this, I guess, we found it in the bylaws. So I mean, I would look at them, start with the bylaws.
So if the bylaws did not specify whether or not they can use personal bank account to collect the condo fee, does it mean that they are allowed to do so? Because I just wanted to make sure that I'm interpreting,
I can't go into your specifics, of your case, but I mean, other than,
Like,
yeah.
we can't answer that without reading the bylaws. And I mean, you may have read them and may interpret it one way, but if you bring it to a lawyer, they may interpret it in another way because they would know more about the laws.
Yeah.
So we can't really give you a yes or no answer unless we read the bylaws in full and
Well,
know.
that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for yes or no answers. It's just that I'm wondering, so let's say if the bylaw doesn't specify that,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's governed by that, and without seeing the bylaws,
Okay.
I couldn't really.
That's fine. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to stress you guys off, but I was just wondering if that's allowed. And also it seems like it's very easy for the HOA to do foreclosures using a non-judicial route. The notice that they sent to is a wrong address. So are there any responsibility for the HOA side when they're trying to do the foreclosures and they send it to a wrong address and the owner didn't know about it? Does that cause, I mean, is there any,
Speaking broadly,
right?
it's a defense, to be raised, at the time. But
Okay.
speaking broadly, what not looking but yes, what you need notice, to proceed. I think, I'm not sure if either Terrence or Trevin, who was first.
All right. Okay, well, I'll
I-
answer the question
I
for you
I
and I'll pass the
I
time.
do want to say that personal bank account, I don't think it would be legit. I would double check the bylaws, but what happens when the HOA board is switched? You know what I mean? And how do you separate your finances? So I would use just your, to answer that question as well
Thank
for
you.
the bank accounts. But I mean, how do you track the money between what's yours and what's theirs? So
Exactly,
they should,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
they should have their own bank account specifically for that, because you don't mix business with personal ever.
Yeah, and that leads to one extra question, because I was wondering if there are any formal authorities to regulate or monitor the HOA's financial activities, because it seems like they can just foreclose, but they don't have to bear the liability of having someone to check their bank account, whether they're really receiving the condo fee on time, and they can just file the foreclosure afterwards. And so I was just wondering if anyone or any authorities will step into to look into these HOAs' financial activities or statements that they claim to be legit. Are there any such bodies existing in the States or Houston,
That's
Texas?
when you come to Lone Star Legal Aid and see if you qualify for our services, and then speak with the lawyer. And if not, then I think your best route would be to get an attorney to investigate and send demand letters, whatnot. Whatever they have to do, you're gonna have to get a lawyer to assist you along with that process. And
Okay.
then that's why we're here. Our services, again, are free if you qualify. You don't pay anything. We don't ever ask you for money. And if somebody that claims to be from Lone Star Legal Aid is asking you for money, they're not with Lone Star Legal Aid. So,
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll pass the time to Terrence or other speakers.
Either Terrence or Trevin. Yeah. Could you ask her? I'm not sure who was first, but you guys can answer your question.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Terrence. Can you guys hear me?
yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for the presentation. Great presentation, by the way. So in doing some research on my own, I was reading one of the statutes. I think it's section 2090062, which is the alternative payment plan. My question to you guys is, once I guess your collection amount has been sent over to an HOA attorney or collection agency, should the homeowner still be afforded the right to that statute or payment plan if you've requested a payment plan, but the HOA keeps denying a payment plan?
I'm not familiar, I guess, with the particular statute. But Sam, sorry.
Yes, you're entitled to a payment plan with your HOAs. If they do not allot you a payment plan, you can contact Lone Star Legal Aid. You can contact a private attorney to assist you um, with navigating that process, but you are entitled to a payment plan for your assessments. Your past due assessments. They do have to allow you that, especially when they send you your past due notices. And I forget how long, I want to say it's like 18, don't quote me on that, but it is within a small time frame that they allow you to pay back that
18
past,
months.
yeah, I was gonna say 18 months, to pay back that the past due assessments.
Okay, even once it's been handed over to an HOA or a collection
Even
agency?
once it's been, yes, once it's been handed over to the attorney, but then you would communicate with the attorney and not the management company.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, thank you for that. And one more question for you guys. Once I receive, like, I guess, once I'm served, I guess the court documents for a hearing or whatever, when I get ready to present an answer to them, guys, I know that I can use your service if I qualify. But what about efiletexas.com? Is that a good way to answer as well?
E-filing, yes, that's a way to file an answer what the court system is.
Okay, awesome. And would that also generate an answer to the HOA lawyer as well?
When e-filing, you have an option to include, I guess, every person that you want to, serve, and but it's through I guess, it's something you have to enter and check.
Okay.
But you'll see it, I guess, in the e-file
Oh,
website.
Thank you. And last but not least, once I file that answer, will I be afforded the right to, appear in front of a judge, or do they just automatically say, no, we're just going to send you directly to foreclosure?
There will be a trial. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'll hand it over.
Hey, afternoon. I just first want to say thank you. I think the presentation was very informative. I am a former Lone Star Legal Aid attorney, so it's great to see that you guys are still doing this and making sure the community is informed. Um, my question is just about examples that you all have seen where maybe you've been able to prevent these types of foreclosures because the HOA has maybe made a mistake, made a misstep, or there's something like that's happened that you guys have been able to catch that maybe your, average homeowner, your layman wouldn't catch. So just examples of some things that you guys have seen.
Some examples, I guess, that's material or the notices, that, that the notices on properties, set, according to the timelines and when they file, I guess, for foreclosure, that usually just slows it down, the process, because I mean, they can always, refile, but I mean, those are pretty material to, the foreclosure process. Um, um, and 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 just, unfortunately, just chapter 13, trying to spread and give people the time to make the payments. I don't know if Sam, I guess, is aware of other ones.
You know what? I'm sorry. I blinked out when you're asking your question. I was trying to take count of attendance. Can you ask it again?
Yeah, I was just asking for examples of times that you guys have been able to present like a defense against an HOA because they have made a misstep. Maybe it's procedural, or there's been something in their governing documents, bylaws, or something that you guys have been able to catch that your average homeowner or layman like would miss when reviewing.
Not specifically anything that they missed and that we've caught, but we've helped with demand letters when the homeowner on the deed passes away and they're not recognizing the spouse as the owner. And so then the fees start to collect, and they're not accepting payment because they don't know who this person is. So we've helped them navigate those channels to where they're having to recognize the surviving spouse or the relative, the heir of that property, because a lot of people don't know where to find the bylaws and the rules and the regs. Um, we've also helped, a lot of people also don't come to us. I've seen this quite often about mandatory repairs that they're being billed for from the homeowner associations, like, and this is specifically for condos, where, they replace the roof, and these condo owners are upset about why are their fees going up? And after reviewing the bylaws, we have to explain to them, hey, it's in there, you sign for it. Um, you have to pay for it. And then they calm down and they're like, okay, I understand now. And a lot of times it just takes them talking to somebody who's on their side to explain these things to them, for them to have a better understanding and understand that this is what they signed up for. Um, so I hope that helps. We don't really have too much that we catch that they're missing out on.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucks. I've had a few homeowners in my community that have come to me because they know that I used to work for Lone Star. I've referred them, but I know they're overage. I know they are. But yeah, so this is informative, and I just wanted to hop on and see if I could maybe, catch something that I wouldn't have, because this isn't, my area of practice anymore. So, all right, thank you.
And then Newton, we have, are there any legal consequences for an HOA not responding to demand letters? I'm going to leave that to Newton because he's the one that went to law school.
Unfortunately, I guess, no, you just have to, keep pressing, I guess, on them to either open up the books, you know, to show the dirt. I mean, well, for looking, I guess, what you're demanding. I mean, um, um, but there's no, I guess, you know, you don't have, I guess, you're not entitled to, you're entitled to view it, and the court, you can go to court to force them to, let's say, open up the books to review. But I mean, that's about it, you know. I mean, there's not
Yeah.
much of it.
So in other words, you have to get a lawyer to help you navigate that. Some questions we received before during registration. Uh, who governs the HOA, and is there a way to dissolve an HOA?
Yeah, yes, if the HOA is still, I guess, you know, current, I mean, um, there's, there's, I mean, the majority of the HOA has to, you know, agree to dissolve it, you know, and file it with the property records, you know.
And I'm sure that's located in their bylaws as well.
Yes.
I'm not just talking about HOAs, but bylaws, any board, they have bylaws on how you can dissolve it. You do need everybody to vote, all the homeowners. And then another question is, what can the board do to prevent cluster mailbox thefts? That's specific, and we don't have an answer about that. I mean, other than update your security. So, while I would like to answer that one, we don't have an answer for that one. And then this one is, says they're HOA, but, um, and I wonder if Kathy wrote this one in. But it says our HOA, even though stipulated in the bylaws, does not provide financial records with receipts or quotes for jobs, even when requested through email. It is a homeowner, and as the bylaws state, we should have access to all financial records, yet are refused access. Instead, we are given an Excel type spreadsheet with random numbers, nothing backing up the numbers. In over the past 1.5 years, we have received over a $120 per month increase. That again goes to, maybe there's a certain process you have to do in your bylaws, but again, that would go back to a demand letter or coming to us for assistance on drafting a demand letter for yourself and then sending it to the HOA board, or if you're at that point with the attorneys, them as well. I think, Newton, do you have anything to say about that?
No, you, I guess, covered it.
Okay, so again, if you have specific questions about your specific HOA, and you want to qualify for us, you can contact us. Or if you know you're not going to qualify for our services, and this is a neighborhood issue, if you know a neighbor that you know would qualify for our assistance and they have the same questions as you do, you can also refer them to us to ask those questions. And whatnot. And then another one says there's a new city ordinance regarding deed restrictions, but that's all that they said. But I tried looking up new city ordinance deed restrictions.
I couldn't find, I guess,
Me
one either.
either. So if you're in here and you know more about that, let us know before our time is up and we can answer them. And then another one said HOA limitations, but it didn't specify what they mean by what their limitations are. So I just want to let you know we got that one, but again, we need more specifics, but not too specific. And then applicability of HOA laws to volunteer-led civic associations. So HOAs and civic associations are two different branches on the same, not the same tree, I don't think. On the same tree, kind of, but they don't go like that, I don't think.
No, the civic code or associations, you know, they're more, I guess, you know, they're more
Neighborhood.
neighborhood, you know, I guess they suggest stuff, but I mean, they have no authority to actually, you know, make you pay dues. So I mean, um, fix, I guess, the properties, you know, it's just, I've noticed that.
Community based.
Yes.
So civic associations are more community focused, where HOAs are home ownership focused. And then if you're in here and you're listening and you asked a question about the attorney for the HOA threatening to foreclose on your house, that is way too specific. You will need to contact a lawyer on your own or contact us at Lone Star Legal Aid to see what advice we can provide you or if any legal assistance we can provide you. but we cannot answer that question for you. And I will also state that we do not take personal injury cases or cases that will generate a financial award, as we are a nonprofit organization.
I think Kathy had, well, I guess one more question.
Mhm.
And Kathy, I guess, you asked, is there any way we can hold them, responsible other than issuing legal actions? I guess, you can always, run for the board and try to change it that way, but that's a suggestion I have, but, I mean, it's very limited.
Yeah, running for the board, getting on the board, attending all your monthly meetings if they have a monthly, getting your neighbors involved, because again, it's every homeowner should get a vote according to your bylaws. So having that community engagement, and I know that a lot of times a lot of us say, I'm not going to go, my neighbor will go and they'll take care of it. We talked about it earlier. But and then both of y'all don't end up going and nothing gets resolved. So I know it kind of sucks, but sometimes the legal way is the only way to go through with these HOAs and making them or holding them accountable for their actions. So, any other questions? Yeah, Kathy says tuning the board is hard for out-of-state owners, and I agree. Um, and that's why you talk to your neighbors and you get them to appear. Okay, I guess no more questions. Okay. And I guess we're done. I guess
Yeah, I just checked social media and we don't have any comment, any question.
okay. Okay. I guess then Diana, we're good. You're muted. But thank you everybody for attending. We will be back next month with some different presenters. And we're going to be talking about, come on, property taxes, and I'll be the one doing the presentation. So come see me next month, September 25th, and we'll give you a lowdown on property taxes and the foreclosure process and how maybe to prevent them and what to do after that.
Thank you so much, Samantha and Newton. Great presentation.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.